Welcome to From the Trenches, success shortcuts revealed by real-world innovators crushing it right now. I'm your host, Scott Hartley, and we're back with another episode packed with actionable strategies from today's most successful entrepreneurs. If you're tired of generic business advice and ready for real cutting-edge tactics that are working right now, you're in the right place. Now, most businesses are sitting on a gold mine, but they don't know it. And it's there in the large database of customers and leads who haven't been contacted or followed up with in quite some time. Our guest today helps retail and home services company extract that gold and turn it into dollars and referrals using AI chat and automated follow-ups. So let me introduce you to Jay Vicks. With over 2 decades of experience in web design, digital marketing, and business development, Jay is a thought leader who leverages AI and technology to simplify marketing for small businesses. He's also the host of Meet the Experts. It's an interview series where he connects with entrepreneurs, sharing their stories and insights to inspire growth and collaboration. Jay, so excited to have you on the podcast today.
Yeah, Scott, I'm really, really excited. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to this.
Absolutely. So I think your topic is a really hot one because in my world where I talk with a lot of small business owners and a lot of different industries, it usually comes up that they don't realize like, hey, I've got this huge database sitting over here that I've collected throughout the years, but they haven't realized that they've neglected that and that there's so much potential in there because really most all the marketing gurus right now are hammering, oh, you need to go get new leads, run more Facebook ads, do this, do that. You got to get new people coming in the door, and they ignore everybody that's already in their ecosystem, right? So I'm really interested in hearing about this. But before we dive into that, give me a little bit of your background. Like, what's kind of your experience been in digital marketing, and how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, good. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I was listening to the bio that you read, and it was like 2 decades, and then I was thinking about it. I built my first website in 1997 using pure HTML on Notepad and opened it up in a very slow primitive browser, and that was like my intro. I was 23 years old. I'm dating myself. 23 years old then, and I've just really I was fascinated with websites ever since that time.
Hmm.
Now I'm not a website designer per se. I mean, but my love for the tech industry started there, and really for the last few decades, I've been in marketing, sales, digital marketing specifically. Opened my agency in 2012, JVI Mobile Marketing. And a few years ago, I was introduced to a tool that a lot of agency owners use. It's a CRM tool, but it's so much more than that. It's called Go High Level,
Hmm.
and it's packed with just about anything a business could use, from invoicing and payments and payment processing to their phone system to their website marketing. It's all in one login. And I fell in, well, actually, there's a funny story about that too. I absolutely hated it the first time I saw it back in 2018. Hated it. I revisited it 3 times, and I think it caught up to me, or I caught up to it. I think it was always ahead of me. I
Hmm.
caught up to it in 2022, just about 3 years ago,
Okay.
and tried it one last time. I met one of the founders, and I said, I really don't like your software. I actually use more colorful language than that when I met him. We joke about it now. I said, but I want to know why all my friends and other agency owners love it and why I don't. So anyway, long story short, I started Journey Builder, and Journey Builder is kind of our white label spin on the high level platform,
Hmm.
where we brand it as our own and we develop for it. So now we build custom solutions for businesses using this platform. And one thing that we realized, and I'm sure we're going to get to talk about it, is how much of a world that has opened up to other digital marketing tactics, CRMs and database reactivation, and AI. And that kind of fast forwards me right to here, where all this experience has really culminated in this new thing, like this ecosystem of this old thing that has now been brought to a brand new thing.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome because I mean, the journey in the tech world. I mean, technology changes so fast, right?
Mhm.
I mean, you mentioned that you started with web design, doing HTML and kind of a text editor type of thing. I started with front page, so
Okay. All right.
really really old stuff there. But now it's like a simple drag and drop interface in any
Mhm.
platform that you use. But I really like the fact that high level. I use that. That is a platform, and like you, I hated it. I
Mhm.
was, any conversation that I had about it, I was like, oh, that's a piece of crap. Like, I don't want to use that. It's not good. And then, of course, in the line of work that I do, so many people are gravitating towards that. And because
Mhm.
high level has its own unique nuance of how
Yes.
email set up and everything is, I really needed to get to know their platform because it's unlike most other email marketing software that's out there. And as I got diving into it more, and it's kind of like with anything in life, you kind of hesitate at first. You don't like it, but then it kind of
Mhm.
grows on you. And
Mhm.
I love a lot of the functionality and everything that it has. And so it's a very strong system. Is it right for everybody? No, but is it a great platform for those that are looking for the functionality that it does have? Absolutely. But when we kind of like go into the database reactivation, because I'd really like to hone in on that today.
Sure.
What are some of the things that you're seeing in the industries that you serve, which is predominantly the retail and the home services? What are you seeing in relation to um, those people's lists and why they get so stale, so to speak?
Yeah, I I hate to say this. I will never call another entrepreneur lazy. I won't do it. I won't. If you're an entrepreneur like you are and like I am, I would hate for somebody to come on a show and tell me I'm lazy. I don't think it's laziness. I think entrepreneur as to why databases get stale. I think we are so pulled in so many different directions
Mm-hmm.
that we cannot continue to follow up and play salesperson over and over and over and over and over again because everybody else's hair is on fire. So we're trying to put fires out and we're trying to wear all these hats. So it's not lazy. So let me use that term lazy in a non, you know, derogatory manner here and just say we can't do it. We don't have the attention span to do it, and a lot of us can't hire that person that's going to do it. So after we follow up with somebody once or twice, we have a tendency to just move on to the next lead or the
Mm-hmm.
next prospect or the next sale. And what I found is that a lot of people have been collecting this data for years and they just don't have the know-how or the power or anything to go after and kind of dig for that gold, that proverbial gold you talked about, that database mining. Um, and what we were able to implement tools like text message marketing and email marketing, uh, and even voicemail drops and some of those things to go kind of wake those people up and say, "Hey, remember me? I'm still here."
Mm-hmm.
And what's really fun is we work with a chain of mattress stores, a lot of them across the country,
Mm-hmm.
and they rely on ads all the time, like you said. They rely on those front end ads. Let me run more Facebook ads, and they get leads. But what about all those leads that don't convert? They
Mm-hmm.
forget about them within 3 days, 3 or 4 days. They're old news. Let's go find more, more,
Yeah.
more. So what we've done, we had a dealer, a mattress store owner. We had He had collected 127 leads from Facebook ads in January of this year, 2 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't really understand how the platform worked or how to get and do anything with these leads. So when he called me up, I was like, "Oh gosh, you mean you didn't know that you were getting these leads every day?" He's like, "No, I don't know how to use the system." And I'm like, "Well, shame on me. Let me teach you how to use that." I was texting him to his phone. By the way, every lead was going right to his phone. I don't, but I was like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. Well, I'll make sure we know how to not have that happen again." I was like, "But in the meantime, you have 127 people here who, and this was the first week of February, 127 people here who just indicated in the last month that they were looking for a new mattress.
Hmm.
We should send a text blast out to them because they all opted in.
Yeah.
And we sent out a text blast, and it was eight sales and over $10,000 in revenue
Oh,
from
wow.
people that he were otherwise lost
Yeah.
because we were able to do some database reactivation. And that's on its most basic. I mean, you can segment and do other stuff, but yeah, it's fun when you see wins from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And now how many people are you seeing that have their old leads kind of scattered in a bunch of different things? So maybe they have some spreadsheets, they've got it in QuickBooks and stuff like that. Are you finding that, clients that you're dealing with don't have everything organized with their leads, or do most of them have them pretty well in some sort of platform?
It's interesting. Most of them most of them are they're in other platforms, but most of them understand the portability um, of things. So oftentimes I'll say, "Where are they?" "Oh, they're in a spreadsheet." "Where are they?" "They're in QuickBooks." "Where are they?" "They're over here." And I say, "Great, you can export them to a CSV." I dream in CSV sometimes, because we're constantly mapping fields and stuff. So like I have I joke, but I have like nightmares about like mapping fields that aren't there and having to create new custom fields. Um, yeah, so I think for the most part, most business owners that have been around a while, they can get it. They've been using some type of technology, so it's not that big a deal. But that's not to say I've met some that I'm like, well, where's all your past customer list or past, leads? And they're like, well, every one of them has a written estimate, and I've got a stack of the estimates. And I'm like, oh, you know, and I'm like, can I teach you how to do a Google Sheet and give you a project for me? Or can I find you a VA that can take all that and, enter it all in somehow? But most of them would do it in a heartbeat. You can tell them how to add, 3 columns into a spreadsheet and just do that over and over again until they're done.
Right.
But for the most part, most people have it, so it's not that bad.
Yeah. So with the database reactivation, and obviously you mentioned, the mattress store that, they had 127 new leads that came in that they didn't realize that they had. And of course, in the mattress industry, that got me thinking is, even if you've got a customer, like you don't need to buy a new mattress every year.
Right.
Typically, that's going to be a longer sales cycle, but it's important to stay in touch with those people
Yes.
because when it's time to get a new mattress, you want them to come back, right? Or in the meantime, they can get referrals and things like that. But what are some of the things? I kind of want to get a little tactical here for people who are looking to reactivate their
Yep.
database. What are
Yep.
some of the considerations that they need to keep in mind? Because if you've got these cold leads, like there's a lot that could go wrong with that.
Yes.
And so I'd
Yes.
like for you to kind of speak to that a little bit. Like, what are some of the things that we need to keep in mind as we start to look at the gold that's in our business, and how do we start mining that out?
Yeah, the biggest rule of thumb, and I could go down a whole like compliance and legal and regulatory rabbit hole that I'll avoid for purposes of this discussion because sometimes we have to be careful of that too. Like,
Right.
did they opt in, right? But let's just assume if they're your customer, they're not going to complain if you send them a message, and let's just say the world is perfect, right?
Hmm.
I always say, do not in a text message. Do not sell like you're writing an ad. Do not advertise to them through text. Number one cardinal sin would be big, bold letters and lots of exclamation points. It is a text message. Act like you're their friend. Just send a message. Hey, just got a truckload of mattresses. Do you know some, do you know, are you still interested, or do you know somebody is? Reply yes if so, and let me know. Right?
Hmm.
That's cool. But if you were like, hey, mattresses 50 and 80% off, dollar down, 90 days, no interest, like, don't do that. Text is not meant for that, right? So that's kind of the big rule. Um,
Hmm.
the other thing is sometimes I tell my clients, don't even mention mattresses or buying a mattress. Just say, Happy 4th of July. Hope you have a great time with friends and family. And then sign it, Joe the mattress guy, right? Like that's okay. But don't even bring up that you want them to buy a mattress. And that's really good for your customers too. Like if they're past customers, because we've seen it, and everybody's got horror stories. We've seen it where a dealer will send a text message out to a list, and the person replies, "I just bought one from you last week." It's like you have a segmenting problem, right?
Right.
So you have to know, you have to segment too. You have to, and that's where the CRM comes in handy, is like know where the people are. And I think my job is mostly educating business owners on how to manage a pipeline, how to track their sales, like basic business stuff in a system. Make sure that if somebody buys from you, they're not still sitting in your prospect list. They are now a one deal. And we try to do some, I could tell you about that and probably in the next question, but we have some ways that we can auto magically update pipelines, which helps us with our database reactivation.
Yeah, no, that's good. Those warnings it really is all about the messaging. Even if you
Hmm.
are doing ads and all that other stuff, it goes back to the messaging. But especially when you're doing that database reactivation, somebody that hasn't heard from you in a long time or whatever, it's
Hmm.
really important that you really kind of tread carefully and you start to
Yes.
warm that relationship back up.
Yeah,
Because if you tick somebody off, I mean, obviously that's not going to have a good result for your business either. um,
sure.
so you talk about kind of the horror stories of a text message going to somebody, hey, I just bought with from you last week. That's a good segue into some of the things that you talked about and that we mentioned in your bio is that you use automated follow-ups, you use
Mhm.
AI to help with some of this process, because as we kind of talked about at the beginning, the reason a lot of people have this huge gold mine in their business but they haven't done anything with it is because that they're so busy. And
Yes.
so it becomes a lot of work. It's like, it's something else that I need to do. And then, of course, you mentioned, this the whole thing of like not understanding the technology. Like
Hmm.
it changes so fast, and it's like, I've got enough to do. I don't need to learn a new platform. So
Yes.
how can business owners leverage, this automation and even AI to help with this reactivation?
Yeah, amazing, amazing question on that, because we've found that people don't want another job. They're not paying you to give them another job of managing all this technology. So one of the ways that we've kind of taken the approach is that we're not selling you software. We're not selling you something you're going to have to learn to use. We're selling you a solution that's going to save you time, make you more money, and keep you more visible and more present at the same time in multiple places. We're gonna actually give you um, what's the word? Multiple, being able to do things, duplicating yourself, right? Like,
Hmm.
yeah. And uh, so what we've been able to do there is say, hey, when you get a new chat from your website to come in, or you get somebody that messages you on Instagram or DM, you just keep working, and we'll have the system reply. Or we'll have AI reply now, and we can train the AI, but we're trying to give them a solution, not give them more work to do. And it's a lot easier to sell a solution than sell somebody another job, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Business owners do not want to be like, yeah, but then I got to figure out how to do this. I got to put this in. I got to put that in. It's like, so what we've done is we've been building solutions, basic plug and play systems. And when we do an onboarding call with a dealer, we say, look, you don't have to learn how any of this works. I just have a couple questions I need to ask you so that we can set it up correctly for you. And
Hmm.
then you can manage it all from the palm of your hand with an app. And I've got videos I can show you how to do that, but it's really self-explanatory. Like it's very simple,
Yeah.
right? So there is something they got to learn, because even if they learned how to do anything else, they're going to have to learn how to do it, right? If they're like, oh, I'm
Right.
going to buy QuickBooks. Well, QuickBooks still requires you to do some stuff, right? I mean,
Hmm.
but you connect your bank account for the automation so that it brings all those expenses in, right?
Yep.
You got to categorize them, or you can set them as a recurring. There's still something. So we have that too. But the more you can position the solution and sell the solution, the more stickiness the client gets with you, and they really see like, wow, I didn't have to be there, and this AI chat got an appointment booked for me while I was busy over here helping so and so on
Hmm.
that appointment, right? Or like missed call text back. That's the simplest, most immediate form of database reactivation. You're getting a contact, you
Yeah.
couldn't answer the phone, and now because you have this automation set up, we're going to go back to that person in your database and we're going to say, "Hey, I'm with another customer. Sorry I couldn't answer your call. I'll get back to you, but let me know if there's anything, you need in the meantime." Right? And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Those types of things help you to be in more places at one time.
Yeah.
And there's a reason you're hearing more and more about AI employees. You're hearing more about agentic AI, which is not automated AI. These are AI that actually like make decisions on your behalf. But more of that's coming. It's coming down the road and it's coming fast. So
Mhm.
right now we're in this like AI employee that's still saying things, but you didn't program it necessarily for what to say when they ask this question, but you can train it. And it's like any other employee, you have to train it. But what's coming next is going to be like it will be able to make decisions and go do things on your behalf. Like a customer calls in, gets your AI bot and says, "I'm looking for 32 widgets." And the AI says, "32 widgets, got it," goes, places the order, puts it in, and has the thing send out. And the business owner was sleeping, right?
Right.
That's coming. And it all done by AI and voice and chat.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, AI is going to totally revolutionize, a lot of what we do. And I think there's another episode that's this month that we're going to be dropping that, is all about AI employees and really kind of
love it.
diving deep on that, which is, I mean, it's phenomenal because there's so much that you can do there. One thing that you mentioned that I think that a lot of people probably haven't heard of. But boy, do I wish that a lot of businesses had was that missed call text back.
Mm,
So, and I specifically think of, contractors specifically.
yeah.
You get roofers, plumbers, and electricians, and all of those type of industries and everything, where generally it's a small, at least in the community that I'm in, it's a small shop. It's maybe one or two people, and of course they are the tacticians of the business as well as the owner. So they don't always have somebody in their office or the phone, phone rings to their cell phone. Well, you can't be answering the phone every time, while you're
Right.
working in water, right?
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about the missed call text back. What is that and how is that helpful?
Yeah. So one of the things that we have in the Journey Builder platform, which we talked about, was built on high level, um, is some great marketing automation. But one of the key components to that is we can set our clients up with a phone number for their business. Now, what do I always hear first? Well, I already have a business line.
Right.
Different. Okay. Different. What I want you to do is I want you to start advertising this number. So if you're putting out road signs or on your website or here, use this number, right?
Hmm.
And then when people call it, it can forward to your business line. You won't miss a single call. But if somebody texts it, we can set up an automation, or if somebody calls it and you can't answer, we can set up an automation that will automatically send out a text like, "Hey, I'm with a customer," or "Sorry, I'm standing in water and it's probably, my phone is in the truck because I'm helping somebody else," or just the customer in front of me is very valuable to me, and if it was you, I would hope that I would give you the same attention, and not whatever it is, whatever ethics. But yeah, so it's a real easy setup. It's a basic automation that we give somebody this phone line. It costs about $2.50 a month, right? Most of the time with our clients, we give them complimentary credits every month, so they never even see that cost.
Yeah.
And then when they miss a call, and they can see that they're missing a call in a lot of cases, or if they truly just miss that call, they just can rest assured that they're not going to lose business to a competitor, that it's going to look like that business just reached right back out to them and said, "Hey, sorry, with a customer, you're important to me. I see that you called. I want to help you, but I will as soon as I can." But it just lets me know, like, all right, I've got somebody calling me back. I've got somebody that's aware of my problem and they're concerned. So if I call that roofer because my roof is leaking into the bedroom, and I get that thing that says, sorry to miss your call. I noticed it. I hear you. I'm going to call you back in the next hour or in the
Hmm.
next 15 minutes or whatever it may be. Man, as a consumer, if I got that, I was like, man, this guy's on top of his stuff, and I trust that he'll call me. Now, you don't call him back. You
Yeah,
deserve to get your
that's a different
reputation
story,
thrown away.
right?
That's a different story, right? Now, so then we got to make my clients make sure that they're following up with those people.
Yeah.
Um, but the cool thing about it is that it's very plug and play, but it's again, like I mentioned, we have to have that conversation with the business owner. What do you want it to say?
Hmm.
And you know what? The world is your oyster. We can make yours say something totally different than any other business on the face of the earth says,
Yeah.
right? We can make it something very specific to your business. We could have fun with it, right?
Hmm.
Like, sorry, I missed your call. My child and I are having a water gun fight for lunch. I'll call you right back if you were in more of a fun business, right?
Hmm.
Maybe a daycare. Hey, I'm out playing with the kids right now. Can't answer your phone because I would have to leave one alone. I'll call you back in 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So you could, but you can customize it. And I think that's the beauty of all of this is it can
Hmm.
be customized. And I think we're also getting to the point now where, we're gonna be able to do AI missed call text back AI style, where it can say something specifically unique to each person that calls,
Yeah.
but all within the confines of some messages that you'd want it to give. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's so huge because, like I said, if you think about it, if you're that smaller business and you are busy, how many sales are you losing
yes,
because people they have an urgent need and they go to the next person. You don't answer, okay, hanging up, calling the next one, hanging up, calling the next one until they get somebody or something that actually replies. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a human. It's just, hey, I hear you, I've got you, and I'm going to get back in touch with you. And that's really key.
100%. Real quick, I was at the I don't want to go into where I was, but I was at a place and there was a septic issue, a septic problem.
Hmm.
And it was Christmas. And there were several calls made to the first person that would answer. None of them had a missed call text back system. So where I was at, the owner of the home kept calling until he got somebody on Christmas that would come out. Now, if you had missed call text back, it might say, "Hey, sorry I missed your call. I'm closed for the holiday," because you can change that message, right?
Sure. Yep.
It's Christmas. I'm not going to be working today. Or if you said, in this case, if you had said, "Hey, sorry I missed your call, but oh my gosh, I'm sure this problem is urgent. So I assure you, as soon as I get freed up here in the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a call back." I would have waited the few minutes,
Yeah.
right? As the consumer. But typically, if it's just like if I don't get anything or I don't hear anything or there's no text, you're right. I'm going next person on my list that I'm going to try to call because I need help.
Yep.
And I want the first person to respond to me is likely going to get the business too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, when you're working with businesses on database reactivation, I know that this can be different from, company to company and industry to industry, but what type of results are you seeing that, they've got this list of, past customers, past leads that they haven't followed up with? What's kind of the return on investment that your businesses are getting when they make that effort to tap into that gold mine?
Yeah, we can increase their business. The longer somebody's in the business, we've seen increases of 40% in sales over 2 years of follow-up. Like
Oh,
that, it's
wow.
40% more likely to buy sometime in the next 2 years than they were on day one.
Hmm.
So if I could go to a business and say, hey, if I can in the next 2 years improve your revenue by up to 40% more, right? From the existing customers that you have,
Mm-hmm.
right? Would that, what would that look like for you? Would that make a big difference to you? And of course, every business is that's huge. If I said 5 or 10% increase in revenue, they would be like, yeah, how much
Yeah.
does it cost? Where do we sign? Right? But it's usually 40%. It's an increase. So, and every business that might 40% to one business in a real low dollar ticket business, quick turn, turn. But like if I said 40%, um, to somebody with the average ticket of $30 versus the average ticket of $1,000, both would say yes, but the dollar amounts would be vastly different, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say no to anybody that says, "Hey, I can increase your whatever by 40% over 2 years." But that's typically the results we're seeing. And the other thing we see on the more immediate side is very low opt-outs. Like when we send those messages, it's kind of why I tell people to don't advertise in a text message.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we will say, you know, act conversational, and then we'll see less than 5%. Usually it's like 2% that will opt out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see 5 times that amount indicate an interest in a text blast. So if I send it to 100 people, I'll probably see 2 to 3 opt-outs,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll probably get 5 to 15. Yes, I'm still interested, or yes, I'm interested in what you're looking for. At any given time, I think the studies say, I don't know who does the studies and who they are and all this, but that 10% of people at any given time are looking for what you have to offer if you're in
Right.
business. 10% of the population is in the market for something you have to offer. And I don't know, on a mattress, that could be right. Maybe once every 10 years you buy a mattress. So this year you might be your year and the next nine won't be. That's 10%. Um, but like, something like any of the home services and contractors or even retail, like 10% of people are looking for what you offer. Are you going to be the one they get? And if you are the one staying in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
you're likely going to be the first person they think of. I call it the realtor marketing method. I don't call it this to people. I always tell people, act like the local realtor. The local realtor wants to send you cards, or the local insurance agent if you have a good one. They
Mm-hmm.
send me birthday cards, they say hello, they wish me Merry Christmas through text. I'm getting these touch points throughout the year. And anytime I hear somebody who's looking for a realtor or an insurance agent, you got to call my person. You got to
Yep.
call this person, right? Like I just naturally, because of the first thing that comes to my brain,
Mm-hmm.
you as a business owner, you want to be the first name that comes to somebody's brain when they hear somebody or know somebody, or maybe they themselves are looking for what you offer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And hearing that 40% number, I mean, that's huge.
Yep.
And if you think about it, you don't have the cost of doing Facebook ads and what the cost of acquisition is for a new lead versus the cost of reactivating somebody who's already familiar with you, like totally different. So that 40% translates into a whole lot more because you don't have all the expense associated with that.
Yeah, it's even more fun when you look at it on, if you're like a lower ticket, fast moving, like repeat buyer thing, like a restaurant,
Hmm.
right? Like I mean, that's like gold. You're not looking for the new customers. You're just trying to keep the ones you got coming back in. So you keep I see it with frozen yogurt places and stuff all the time. I get these like, hey, it's no way Wednesday, like come and get the big cup for $5, right? And it's like, oh, I'm going, right?
Yeah.
And I may not go every single time, but the fact that they keep sending it, that's the only frozen yogurt place I go to. Um, and that is massive. But to piggyback on that, if your business is able to continue to pour more into the funnel, maybe you are running those Facebook
Mhm.
ads, maybe you are
Yep.
running those Google ads. If you can afford to do that and let us continuously work your database, you turn into a money making machine. And that's really what we've been able to see with a lot of our clients, is that they're still running the ads, so they're adding new people to that database.
Hmm.
We're then just helping them move them through and get them back.
Yeah.
And in the mattress industry, it's a little bit harder because it is like, you don't buy a mattress every week or month or year. But in some of our service businesses, we've seen like people are, calling, coming back, and it's a lot more helpful, people, and a lot more referrals come that way. If you want referrals, that's the way database reactivation gets, like kind of the hidden gold mine inside of all that is referrals.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Jay, I know we're getting to the top of our time here, but and I know that you've got a resource that you'd like to share with our audience, and then also, you've got your system. Love to give you an opportunity just to kind of like tell people how they can get in touch with you in case they want you to set up the system for them, and
Sure.
potentially use it in their business. Share those details, and then also the meet the experts that you have.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you. If you want to just learn more about kind of our solution, I call it solutions with a software. So you hear like software as a service and service with the software. I call it solutions with a software. We'll give you the solution first. So just head over to getjourneybuilder.com. So it's GET and then journey, JOURNEY, builder, BUILDER.com. And just just scroll past all the fluff and copy. Just scroll down, book a time to meet with me. I'll give you a full demo. It'll be way better than reading a web page, I promise. But really, what I wanted to talk about, thank you, was meet the experts. So I do a similar type of setup to you, where I read a book called Content-Based Networking about 2 years after I started doing what I was doing, and I thought I was so brilliant before I read this book. I thought, oh man, I'm just giving people video content for free to get my foot in the door and get to know them. And I'm such a genius. And then somebody pointed out this book, Content-Based Networking, and I read it and I was like, this guy's been doing this for years. Um, I like to interview business owners. I call it Meet the Experts. Business owners. The other day we did a nonprofit that does really great things for cancer patients. And I like to talk to people who have products or services or ideas, businesses that they want to share with the world. But a lot of times they don't know how to make video content. They're not going to do it on their own.
Yep.
And that's the biggest struggle I see with business owners is video is so important and business owners just they freeze. They don't know what to do. So we make it a real easy way, just like this. We jump in a recording room. I ask them several questions, but I call it the anti-podcast because I don't upload my episodes to Spotify or Apple or any of these places. I give the episodes to my guest and I say, look, it's yours. Do whatever you want with it. Talk about the press you just got, or go chop it up and clip sound bites and use them on social media. And if you need help with that, I'll help you with that too. But so if you want to come on, I call it the podcast, but I refer to it as the anti-podcast. It's meettheexpertspodcast.com. Totally free. 30 minutes of great video content that I'm gladly just gift you. And people say, why would you do that? That doesn't seem like a waste of time. I said, no, the amount of business that comes back by that giver's gain mentality and delivering that value in advance. Some of my biggest clients didn't come from my guests. They came from referrals from the guests that I had on my shows when those people were like, oh, you got to talk to Jay. I know what he's up to. And I usually just say, hey, look, if nothing else, just let me tell you what I can offer you afterwards. But it's never a pitch. I just want to give that video content. And I don't do that on the show. I do it kind of quietly afterward. Just say, hey, what are you doing in your business? So.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Jay, I really appreciate your time here today. A lot of great insight, and I really appreciate you, kind of pulling, the curtain open a little bit so that people can see what's potential in their business and some things that a lot of times we may not know that we may be missing. So. Would encourage everybody to visit meettheexperts.com and go ahead and secure your spot on Jay's video interview series there. That way he just gives you the opportunity. Get your own video. You can use it however you want to showcase your expertise, products, or services. We'll make sure that we have that web address in the show notes as well, just in case you're in a place where you can't write that down at the moment. And if you're looking to supercharge your email marketing, check out my book, Hit the Inbox, at hittheinboxbook.com. It's packed with 76 pages of strategies to get your emails landing in inboxes and driving sales. Thanks for tuning in today. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your favorite platform. It helps us reach more entrepreneurs like you. And until next time, keep crushing it in the trenches.